Hello everyone. Welcome back to another witching half hour or so. It's me, Jody Ann, and this week we are doing a tarot episode. We're going to dive into the Lover's card. Before we do that though, I do have just a small bit of housekeeping. I was at Pagan Pride this weekend. I had a lovely time. I've got a really special episode coming up for you guys on that pretty soon. And I did have a survey going on there. And what I wanted to do before we dive into our episode today is announce the winner for our little draw. If you filled out the survey, I entered you into a draw for a Doreen Virtue deck that I have that I don't even know when I got it. I don't know how it came to be in my house, and I just wanted to pass that on to somebody. I put it all into I put all your names into online picker thing so it's fair, and it drew a name. And the winner is Caffeinated Moose. So I have your email. I'm going to send you a email the day this drops or the day after, and we'll connect, and I will send that deck to you. Congratulations! You won! Okay, now into our tarot card. We're talking about the Lover's card. That's the 6th card in the High Arcana. Because this is a tarot talk and I dive into the artwork and the symbology, I do always do a compendium on YouTube, so you have a visual. Please go over and watch that. They're never the exact same information, so it's really great if you're a student of the tarot to watch both. You can find links to the YouTube in the show notes. You can also find it on the webpage, or if you just search for the Witching Half Hour or so, I should come up on YouTube. So now when we're reading tarot for people and the Lover's card comes up, a lot of new readers want to talk about love. The card is more nuanced than that. So let's talk about the old Hermetic ideas. So it's interesting when you look at this card because some of the really old school 16th century ideals come up of virtue over lust, right? The idea that the person needs to make, let me rewind a second. Let's look at that original artwork. Originally, in our first tarot decks, again, the Tarot de Marseille, not the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. We want to go back further than that. So let's go back to one of those original decks and have a look. Now, what is often shown is there is a lovely man, a stately man, choosing between two women, and Cupid is up in the air. So he has these two women standing before him. One of them is a stately queen, and one of them is a beauty, right? So this is your choice. Do you choose beauty? Or do you choose virtue? Do you choose your pleasures, or do you choose service and what's going to be best as a lord? Because of course everyone in the High Arcana are stately, amazing people, and lords and ladies, queens and kings. So looking at this, it seems like a choice of love. It seems like a love triangle, but that's just the surface of this card. You want to go deeper. You want to look deeper at some of the Hermetic ideas behind it. So let's talk about the number 6. Okay? The number 6 is a Hermetic number that is about completion and balance. You have the 6-sided star, which is really the symbol for water and the symbol for fire combined. the upside down triangle and the upside right triangle. You overlay them on top of each other and you get this six-sided star. Three is a number of three is a number of manifestation, right? When you're dealing with threes, that's why the Empress card is a 3, because she is the mother goddess. She is manifesting. She is creation. So within this card, you're not just choosing between two people. It's about looking at our choices. It's about understanding the implications of our choice and how they will play out and how they will come to completion. You've got Cupid sitting there just ready. He's just about to release his bow. As soon as our lover makes his choice, everything comes into action and his path before him will unfold. So the deep meaning of the Lover's card isn't just about love. It's about choice. The choices that play out within our life. Now let's look at how this card has changed through time, because that's, like, you guys know, that's what I absolutely love about the tarot. And that's one of the things that really gets me excited, is looking at the artwork and how it has evolved and changed, because there's so many decks out there right now. So one of the big shifts was in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. A lot of people learn on it, and it's one of the decks that people draw from to create decks, consciously or unconsciously. Those images are in our conscious, they're in our collective, they're in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Pamela Coleman Smith drew a apple tree and have Adam and Eve around the apple tree. So it does layer kind of that, what century were they from? 19th century idea of Christianity into the deck, right? There's lots of angels in that deck. We don't have a lot of paganistic gods and goddesses in that deck. It's more queens and kings. Anyway, I digress. So there's this kind of layer of the Christian mythos in there with the Garden of Eden and the apple and Adam and Eve. Out of that has come this more focus of the card being about choosing love. I don't think that that should be the interpretation, because I've seen other cards that show a tree and two people entwined, or very lusty people entwined, and it's all about love and pleasure, where that original drawing by Pamela Coleman Smith echoes the idea of choice and implications of choice. You have Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and they are either going to eat from the tree of knowledge or not. And their choice has implications. Their choice will come to fruition and change the course and the path of humanity. I think that is the deeper meaning of this card, how our choices affect our path. Not an insane twin souls coming together, the most fated love of all. I don't think that that is the meaning of this card. And many people do read it as that. Rarely have I seen this card come up to signify a beautiful and balanced relationship. I find interesting the way that the different cards depict this choice. So I always go to my decks, and grab some cards to show you. And of course, they'll be on the YouTube. You'll get a better idea. So I pulled this from the Mythic Tarot. That's the one based on the Greek mythology. What I love about it is they chose to have 3 goddesses. I believe it's Jason from Jason and the Fleece who's choosing. I can't remember anymore, and I forget where my book is depicting everything, but I do think it's Jason. And there's 3 goddesses in front of him. So Hera, Aphrodite, and Athena. I like the way they did this because the choices aren't just polar opposites. You're not just choosing virtue over beauty or beauty over virtue. They have 3 different aspects that you're choosing from. And I really like the way they do that because it removes the whole that that idea, that the shame-baked idea in that only choosing the higher realms is virtuous. It takes away that monk life versus a life of pleasure duality. And it really kind of highlights choice. What do you value? Do you value the cool head of Hera, who makes amazing decisions and is Zeus's wife? Do you value Aphrodite? Do you value love? Do you value passion? Do you value art? Or do you value the warrior path? Do you value Athena, goddess of the hunt, and the strength that she holds? So I like the way that that card depicts the choice more than the traditional one. I love how it's layered in there. Then I picked a couple neat decks. So I did grab the Tarot of the Secret Forest. That's that fairy deck I've pulled out a few times for you guys. Now this one, it kind of takes off from the Rider-Waite-Smith idea of two people, right? It actually gets rid of the tree, but I could believe they are inside a tree because they are little pixies. But they have the idea of balance and duality, a female fairy and a male fairy, red and blue, flying together in balance. So that idea of a balanced life and balanced love. But there you have where you can see how the influence of one tarot deck has really shifted how we think about the Lovers card. How they've taken the idea of love and balance and faded love and all of that and wrapped it up into this card and kind of removed the idea of choice. Even in my Legacy of the Divine, you have an echo of the Rider-Waite-Smith. So you have like a tree and a snake and an apple, and then you have two beautiful people coming together in these beautiful wings. And again, loves, I'm going to put this all on the YouTube so you can see the actual cards. And this card comes across again much more like a balanced love affair. You don't really see it. Well, I guess with the Garden of Eden is there, but the idea of choice isn't as highlighted as it is in other decks. And the last one I wanted to talk about today, which is really interesting, is the Llewellyn deck. The Llewellyn deck is based out of Welsh mythology. So we have a lot of British folklore in it and different gods and goddesses of the Celtic Isles, right? If you remember episode, whichever one it was when we talked about the High Priestess card, they have Caradwyn as the High Priestess, she's really cool at Caradwyn. The Llewellyn card of the Lovers goes, not completely outside of the box because you do have an image of Cupid in it, but it shows a beautiful woman sitting on the lap of an emperor. And it says, the wording on it is the dream of Macian Velding, or Veldig, Macian Veldig. I'll just put the spelling in the show notes. So this is a story about a man who has a dream. He's a emperor of wherever, and he has a dream of a beautiful woman. And upon awakening, he cannot get her out of his mind. And he goes like a little crazy searching for her. He goes on a journey and he travels all over to try to find her. In some of the stories, he even sends scribes out and they look for her for years. And in this time, he's ignoring his people. He's ignoring his stewardships. His popularity is falling. I believe he even loses his emperorship, like it gets taken over. And he eventually finally finds her. He does. He finds her and she's beautiful and lovely and everything. So it's a cool story. And for it to be on the Lovers card, I think is really interesting because we have the idea of giving into one's passion so fully and so completely, and how the ramification of that is that he loses a lot. He loses everything. He has to go to war to get his kingdom back. Like after he finds his beautiful maiden, he has to go to war and reclaim his emperorship that he lost. Now, if you didn't know that the idea behind this card and behind the 6 is the balance of choices, you might not read that story and get that lesson out of it for your clients or for your readings, because it looks just like two people just amazingly in love, like wrapped up together, and it doesn't so much scream at you, obsessive guy who loses everything for a beautiful woman. So it's interesting. So I think it'd be great for you guys to like look at your decks yourself and see like, what is the symbology in your lover's card? What decks is it drawing from? Is it drawing from the idea of choice, or is it drawing from the idea of Adam and Eve? Are we looking at the result of your actions or the moment before your actions? Because it seems to vary from deck to deck. And then there's those decks that just show just super passionate love and two people coming together in absolute bliss. And it's interesting that that is what this symbology has grown into. There you have it. There are the layered meanings of the Lover's card. So now, no matter how your deck is depicting it, whether it has just two people enamored with each other or whether it has someone choosing between two lovers, you now know the deeper meanings. You can go into the idea of the 6-sided star, how you've got the symbol for water and the symbol for fire. And esoterically, water means our passion, our desires, our creativity, our lust, our emotion. And fire is our willpower, our ambition, transmutation, how we show up in the world, how we wield our will in the world. And looking at when those two ideas come together, the balance they create in the 6-sided star. So your choices, that's the secret behind this, right? That's like the esoteric secret behind this card, that the fool must look into desire, must look at what pulls on their heartstrings. The fool needs to understand when the choice between polarity is an invitation to look at what opposes them, to look at their reaction to their choices. That's the secret, you know. Choice isn't always about what you do. The lesson of the choice isn't always about what you do or do not do. So that's the secret. No matter what deck you are using, once you know the deeper meanings, you can't unsee them. You can't unlearn them. No matter what cards you have, you know the meaning behind this card now. Because choices and their effect on our path are decisions that need to be balanced. Do not choose only pleasure or only virtue, right? The card doesn't show the result, even though 6s are about completion. It shows the aspect of choosing. So the wisdom of the card is not even what path ends up being chosen. The secret behind it and the teaching behind it is that the process of choosing is a window into understanding your own soul and your own desires. So when the Lover's card comes up for your clients and you're doing readings and they're asking about whether they should take one thing or the other, they really need to look at their secret desires, the motivation behind their choice. When you're reading for yourself and the Lover's card comes up, you know, if you do daily card draws or whatever, and the Lover's card comes up, it's about looking deep within your choices. What makes you hesitate? What makes you look before you leap? What makes you choose things the way you choose them? What can you learn about yourself from how you choose? What can you learn about yourself about where you place value? Do you place value only on the heart of the matter and the deep emotion of a matter? Or do you place value on the logic behind things or introspective thinking? So yeah, there you have the Lover's card. At least my take on it. I hope you enjoyed this witching half hour or so. I'm so glad you're here with me in the Earbud Coven. Please feel free to head on over and see the YouTube on this. The YouTube will be embedded in the show notes, which are at my website, which is www.jodieannpsychicmedium.com. The link or web address is always at the bottom of the description, included in the little description of each episode, so that you can find that. Everything I'm doing is there. I have a link on the website to all of my socials. I drop a weekly reading over on TikTok every Tarot Tuesday. And I also am doing monthly readings on my YouTube channel, which is Tarot Talks. I think I might have to change that to just the Witching Half Hour or so. If you Google the Witching Half Hour or so, that's probably the easiest way to find me on YouTube, because I need more subscribers in order for the algorithms to put me at the top. That being said, if you are enjoying this, please like, subscribe, do all the things so people can find us and join us. And yeah, that's it. Take care, guys. Bye. So, look, oops, I bumped my mic. Did I say that properly? And their choice unfolds and creates the I don't know, the downfall of the world and the leaving of the, I don't know how to say that.